Today is the fourth day of the Love Mastery Game Elements Edition, and today we are working with the element of earth. Earth is the beautiful soil into which we plant our seeds of desire, and then the water waters those seeds of desire. And then the sun showers its rays, the fire showers its warmth on the soil, on the seeds. And then the wind spreads those seeds once that flower has blossomed, that plant has blossomed, and it sprouts its own seeds, and the wind carries them to be planted again in the dark soil, the fertile soil. So we'll be talking about earth today. Now, we're going to talk about more about earth and its properties, and we'll have a little visit with earth and get some wisdom. And so for now, knowing what I just shared with you, how is your fertile soil of earth? How fertile is your soil? What do you desire help with today regarding your fertility of your dreams and your intentions? Take a moment. I desire help with this inquiry today, and get your inquiry sheet out and write your inquiry on that line. I desire help with this inquiry today. To my aid comes earth, the element of earth. You can write that on that line. To my aid comes earth. And as I said, who offer me, will be working with that just in a moment. And now we're going to look at the state of being that earth is inviting you to be. Okay, so invite me to be, earth invites you to be a certain state of being with your inquiry. So let's just take a moment and get quiet. Even place one hand over heart, one hand over belly. Take a deep breath. And listen or see a number from 1 to 12. Or just know it. Okay, you've seen your number now. And here is the sheet for you to match it. And write whatever you see next to your number, the word or phrase, on the line and invite me to be state of being. And now we are going to invite Earth to tell us what mastery principle are we working with this current challenge. Hand over heart, hand over belly, taking a deep breath. Opening to Earth to give you a number from 1 to 12 in your mind, in your vision. Letting that number settle into being. And now, finding that number on the sheet and writing the corresponding phrase or word on your piece of paper next to you as I master. And then we're going to come back to the line and therefore I am. But before we do, we're going to talk a little bit about the medicine of earth. So we are on earth, right? So this can be a little confusing, at least for me it always was, like the element of earth, but we're on earth and earth is all the elements. So how is this different than earth? I don't understand. So I'll share with you what I have come to, and you can explore it within yourself. And of course, we'll bring earth in, the element of earth, to give you guidance. So the indigenous ancestors of ours are the ones who first realized that there were elements, that there was earth, water, fire, and air, and many of them realized there was a fifth element that they just ether, like it's invisible. It's just there but not there. And I didn't include it in this week's game, but we all know that that's spirit, the ether, consciousness. So they realized, these ancestors that lived close to the ground, close to the cycles of nature. They slept on the ground. They didn't sleep in houses on beds like us. They slept on the ground. They slept on the earth itself. They farmed their food right on the earth, when they started doing agrarian society. Before that, they just simply noticed nature, and they hunted and gathered. So they went about looking in nature to see what was available to eat today. Were there some nuts? Were there some seeds? Were there some animals that were going to be beneficial for the tribe to harvest? And so this was the hunter-gatherer model. And what they noticed was that without any interference from human beings, Mother Nature seemed to be able to procreate quite well, all by herself. And so she would do this process where there would be a seed plant that was carried by the wind or by an animal to the earth, and then it would find its way down into the soil, the rich, dark soil of the mother. Then it would rain, rain would come, and rain would water the seed. And then the sunlight would shine, and the sun would shine on the ground where the seed was and beckon it forth. And at some point, the seed would just know inside of itself that it had received enough nutrients from the soil that it could germinate. And its little green buds would start, and they would come up and then start to flower above the soil. And then it would grow into whatever beautiful bush or tree or other plant that harvested some fruit or some vegetable, something for everyone to enjoy, and it would come up and it would harvest that. And then in that harvesting, there would be more seeds of its own that the wind would come and sweep and carry to the next place to go into the next soil. And so in this way, Mother Nature had a built-in system for procreating, and it didn't require any intervention whatsoever from humanity. But when humanity decided, hey, I want to control this process because I like corn better than I like squash, or I like squash better than this, and so I want that always available. And so humanity decided, oh, I'm going to be very clever, and I'm going to go and plant the things I want to eat, and I'm going to ask the same process to take place. So we became intimate with the knowing that all of those elements were necessary in order for us to eat. We needed the soil. We needed rich nutrient soil in which to plant that seed. We needed the rains to come to water those seeds. We needed the sunlight to shower down on the seeds to encourage it to grow to the light. We needed the wind to carry those seeds to the next place, or to harvest those seeds ourselves so that we could plant the next crop the next season, because then we decided we could rotate crops, right? Because different crops require different nutrients from the soil. And then we might need to give the soil a rest, which is what the ancient ones realized, that they needed to let that soil rest because it couldn't just keep delivering all the time that same piece of land. It would run out of nutrients. It would run out of richness if all it was doing, 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 doing all the time. So you're getting my metaphor, I hope, that the richness of your own soil, the nutrients in your own soil, are directly proportional to your ability to harvest your intentions, the seeds that you plant inside your soil. If your soil is barren because you never rest and you're always going and you're in beta brain all the time and you never stop because you have to keep going, 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 and getting, then your soil is depleted. And if your soil is depleted, you could plant whatever intentions you want inside of it. And it'll be hard for those intentions to grow because they need some nutrients. They need some nutrients. Now, where do nutrients come from in a human perspective? Like, if we're going to apply this metaphor to humanity, how do you get rich, dark soil inside of yourself? Well, self care being number one. Self care, taking care of yourself, speaking gently and kindly to yourself. Um, Reversing the pattern of putting pressure on yourself to succeed out there and turning the direction inside to harvest in here. There's another key aspect of this process, this alchemical process of getting rich nutrient soil that many people skip, and that is integration. So many people like to go from like, especially on the spiritual path, I notice they go from like one weekend workshop to the next. And I had a student this one time that it was clear it was never fast enough, right? And this could apply to anybody listening back, so, don't take it personally. This is a theme. There are many times that as we start this journey of self-discovery. And when we enter the mystery, we're stepping out of this um, logical, predictable, first you do step one, and then you do step two, and then you do step three, and then step four, and within about 5 steps, you get what you wanted in the logical masculine methodology. But that methodology only works at the surface of life. It does not work in the rich, dark soil of your consciousness, which is your subconscious. It doesn't work there. When you open up the mystery, which is what I do for people, I help you walk into the mystery of your subconscious and see, is it barren? Is it rich? Where is the richness? How can I integrate and be with the richness? When you step into that place, you want to apply the same model, right? Of predictability. Like first I do this, and then I do this, and then I get my first certification, and then I get my second certification, and then I get my third certification, and then I get my fourth certification. And because I have all those certifications, I can go out and be a healer. And I say in my community, that's not how it works. Because now you've entered the mystery. And if you've really entered the mystery, then you've entered an alchemical process that is taking you where you need to go, not vice versa. Like you're not charting it from your mind, like I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to put my shingle up, and then no. The earth is going to take you in her loving embrace. And all that's asked of you is that you slow down. Slow down. Be still. Listen. Flow. Show up. Be transformed. Be transmuted in the energy and the frequency of what is available inside the mystery in a mystery school. Allow yourself to be transmuted. Allow yourself to be transformed. And in that process of surrender, the earth herself is able to help integrate different things that you've acquired. So there's nothing wrong with acquisition of, like, for example, the next project that you do, or the next position you hold, or the next certification you get. There's nothing wrong with that acquisition of knowledge, but it doesn't become wisdom until it gets integrated by earth in your stillness and presence. And that's an allowing process. It's the earth that takes the raw ingredients and mulches them into the richness that then can be shared, and that then fills you up with enough yummy nutrients in your soil that when you plant a seed in there, it takes off. Because number one, you have enough nutrients to feed that seed, you have enough to give. And number two, you know right timing, because you're aligned with the earth and her cycles and her intelligence, her vast intelligence for what is the next step and when. And this is the part that I know I had a hard time with, because I'm a manifester. I like to manifest like that. I'm just like, I have the idea, now I want it to be. And I get very impatient in the process of any process, because I just wanted to be. And I had to learn that there's I'm not in charge of making it be. All I'm doing is receiving the inspiration to my heart that I know in my heart. I'm like, this is so yummy. Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. I so desire this. I so desire, like, for example, I so desire this community. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about these people coming together in the mystery for 8 weeks, for the Sacred Living course with the four directions and the power animals. I mean, I'm excited about that. I'm excited about introducing people to serpent, introducing people to jaguar, introducing people to the West to let go of things. I mean, I could talk on and on about that. That is so juicy for me personally, really juicy. And as I'm planting that seed inside my soil, how much spaciousness am I giving that to grow? How much resource do I have within myself for Mother Earth to manifest the potential of that seed through my being? Have I given myself enough time to process and digest all the things that have been happening in my life? And I've had a lot happening in my life, and I usually do. I take on the, curriculum like everybody else. But I have to ask myself, how nutrient is my soil? I mean, I just came back from Cherokee. Not that long ago, there was some profound healing that happened with the four directions in me up there and the ancestors. Huge transition inside of myself, soul reclamation, soul acceptance of this former lifetime on the Trail of Tears. That was big work. And have I given myself enough time to really rest, to really, really mulch all of that wisdom, all of that change, that alchemy that happened back down deep into my being, into wisdom? And am I ready now to plant that new seed, to offer that new offer? And so it's always that inquiry for me. And in this case, I feel ready. I feel ready to offer again. I feel ready to take on a new group and to say, yes, let's go into the mystery together. Let's explore. This is so exciting. To me, it's that, how excited, how fulfilled, how enriching is it inside your being? And that all has to do with the fertility of your earth. So let's take a moment and you hear for yourself from earth. So close your eyes and go into the sanctuary surrounded by the old oak trees, the wise ones, the ancient ones, with their thick trunks and their roots stretching deep into the earth underneath us, their branches reaching high overhead, welcoming earth into the circle, the element of earth, and allowing her to walk in and to share with you some insights about medicine she can offer you on a daily basis. And now ask her about your inquiry today. What medicine does she have for your inquiry? Okay, now coming back into the space, thanking Earth for all that wisdom. And now as you take a look at your flow here, I desire help with this inquiry today. To my aid comes Earth, who offers me what's the medicine that Earth is offering you? Write that on that line. And invite me to be state of being as I master principle of mastery. Therefore I am. Take a moment, close your eyes, and therefore I am. Okay, now write that down on the sheet, and that's your answer for today. So contemplate that today. How can you bring more enrichment to your deep soil, your deep earth? How can you bring the kind of enrichment to yourself that allows you to receive those seeds that you desire to plant and grow in your life? In order to receive that bounty, you have to be prepared with rich, dark soil inside of yourself. Rich, rich, dark soil. Nutrient rich within yourself. Good self care, self love, self presence. Really, that stillness and the bigger self within you being present. I encourage you to really consider joining us next week. We start October 11th. We go for 8 weeks, Tuesday nights over Zoom. It's recorded. You're encouraged to be there live. And we'll be going through the 4 directions and how they can enter you into this mystery realm where things are very different. They don't operate on a linear timeline. They unfold. And it's how we access beauty, this mystery of Earth School. Consider that. I'll put the information in the group and I hope to see you at the course. This is our last broadcast for the elements. Enjoy. Bye for now.